The Mission Impossible franchise is approaching its 30th year and shows no signs of letting up, with Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 set for release on July 12th. With a franchise as vast as this one, there will inevitably be changes and evolutions in how the films are made. Over more than 2 decades, you'll be surprised how the series has evolved from espionage-heavy conspiracy thriller from its 1990s debut into a globe-trotting, stunt-driven action extravaganza for the information age of today. Mission Impossible 1996. The first movie, directed by Brian De Palma, centers on a mole trying to sell on the black market a disc containing the names of all the CIA undercover agents, with Hunt framed for the crime. It's a little unrealistic and convenient that all this sensitive data is kept in one place, the non-official cover list, but it certainly ensures that the stakes remain high. The movie's most famous scene sees Hunt being lured into a secure mainframe room in the CIA headquarters to retrieve the NOC list, and the computer's old-fashioned trackball mouse stands out by a mile. The movie's last major gadget is explosive gum.
Red light, green light. You come up against a lock you can't pick, you mash them together,
which Hunt uses to blow up a fish tank in his escape from the IMF early on, and later slaps onto the helicopter to kill 2 treacherous double agents after a spectacular chase sequence on a bullet train going through the Channel Tunnel. The Channel Tunnel, which connects Britain to France, was pretty fresh at this point, having opened in 1994. Hunt's team uses gadgets such as glasses that transmit unrealistically sharp video to remote watch display, floppy disks, and a gloriously chunky 1994 Nokia 232 phone. We also get a reminder of the internet's early days, when Hunt accesses Usenet, a server protocol started in 1980 and used for sharing messages in groups based around common interests. In a Bible discussion group, Hunt uses coded language to contact arms dealer Max. This illicit exchange was mirrored in real life in a less dangerous way, as Usenet became an under-the-radar file-sharing system in the early 2010s. Also, Hunt doesn't even fire a gun in this movie. But that will soon change in Mission Impossible 2, 2000. This is the movie where Hunt transforms from spy into a near superhuman action hero. Directed by the legendary John Woo, his trademarks, doves, slow-mo, and impractical but so darn cool dual pistols are all here. This extreme mentality is even evident in the gadgets, with Hunt getting his mission from a pair of Oakley Romeo sunglasses with a heads-up display on lenses that were fired to him by a rocket from a helicopter as he's standing on top of a cliff in Moab, Utah. The mask became more effective with the addition of a voice changer strip that agents stick on their throat. It's kind of ridiculous, but it allows them to blend in far more than they could in the previous movie and makes the reveals much more dramatic. When femme fatale Nia Nordhoff Hall is charged with infiltrating the bad guy's base, she has an untraceable transponder injected into her, allowing Hunt to creepily track her via satellite as she feeds IMF information about her evil ex-rogue agent, Sean Ambrose, and his diabolical scheme. Turns out he's trying to acquire the genetically modified Chimera virus, which kills victims horribly, so he can sell it to the highest bidder. This movie might be more extreme, but there's some recognizable real-world tech in it too. Apple continued its partnership with the franchise, and Apple PowerBook G3s are seen several times. Hunt uses the timer as a Casio G-Shock DW6900 for the dramatic countdown after Nia is infected with the virus. IMF must have upped its agent's conditioner allowance for the turn of the century, because Hunt's hair is pretty spectacular in this movie. The real Mission Impossible here is not getting hypnotized by it during the more balletic scenes. Mission Impossible 3, 2006. J.J. Abrams took over as director and co-writer for the more grounded third movie. This exemplified in how Hunt receives his mission, from a disposable Kodak Power flash camera with a retinal scanner, and the focus on his personal life with the introduction of his fiancée, Julia. The tech gets smaller too, from the micro bombs the bad guys plant in people's heads to the micro dot video that gives Hunt his first hint of a traitor working in IMF. This traitor is helping ruthless arms dealer Owen Davian to acquire the Rabbit's Foot, a WMD he plans to sell to hostile groups. Davian is a particularly effective villain, especially in the chilling pre-credit scene. We get a better sense of the tech behind the masks in this movie when we make one mid-mission. After mapping Davian's face with multiple covert photos, they 3D print a mask and spray paint the skin tone. When Hunt puts the mask on, a clever camera pan-hides the transition from mask to CGI to Hoffman's actual face. The voice changer strips is explained too. Hunt forces Davian to read a phrase that's transmitted to Luthor, who remotely uploads the voice match to Hunt's strip.
Okay, go.
Fine, wait outside.
This movie also featured some remote-controlled gadgets. IMF computer hacker Luther Stickle operates several Sentry machine guns with a tracker ball mouse early in the movie, and drones are used in the spectacular bridge sequence. The agency must have cut its conditioner budget, as Hunt's hair is much shorter and more practical in this one. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, 2011. Ghost Protocol takes a fresh approach to gadgets as the entire IMF is disavowed, after a rogue nuclear strategist frames Hunt and his team for bombing the Kremlin. Left without their usual support network, their equipment isn't so effective. Our first hint of this comes early, when Hunt gets his mission from a screen hidden in a grungy phone booth. He is forced to hit it when the usual self-destruct sequence fails. The gadgets continue to fail when the team goes to Dubai, and their plan is ruined by a malfunctioning mask maker. In fact, the only mask we see in this movie is worn by the villain Kurt Hendricks, in a slightly bewildering bait and switch. As a result of mask failure, Hunt must engage in the movie's most famous sequence. He climbs up the outside of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest structure in the world, using a pair of electro-adhesion gloves to reach a server room on the 130th floor. The audience is primed for something to go wrong when Hunt learns that a blue indicator means the gloves are sticking, while red means they aren't.
Easy way to remember, blue is glue. And when it's red, dead.
When they start to malfunction, we get one of the series' most engaging stunts as he must make do without them. In a nice throwback to the second movie's sunglasses, he wears a pair of clear Oakley wind jacket goggles during the climb. This movie introduces high-tech contact lenses that allow agents to scan crowds and identity faces, as well as capture images of nuclear launch codes and send them to a briefcase printer with scrambled numbers. As part of the effort to stop Hendricks, Agent William Brandt must alleviate by donning a magnetic chainmail suit held aloft by a remote control robot as he tries to deactivate a satellite. After this, Hunt drives a BMW i8 hybrid sports car with a heads-up display and collision detector, ahead of his final battle with Hendricks in an automated car park, purpose-built for the movie, in Mumbai. This inspiration came from the Volkswagen's Autostadt in Germany. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, 2015. This is the one that opens with its biggest stunt, in which Hunt hangs off the side of an Airbus A400M military transport plane. After the high-octane pre-credit scene, we go old school for Hunt's briefing, which he receives in a London record store after going through an elaborate jazz music trip Q&A. Using handprint authentication on the turntable, his vinyl briefing has a suitably warm, scratchy sound until it takes a sinister turn. We learn that his briefing has been sent by the aforementioned Syndicate, an anti-IMF shadow organization committing acts of terror, just before Hunt is gassed and his contact killed in front of him. He later encounters disavowed MI6 agent Ilsa Faust, who proves to be his match in every way as they play a cat-and-mouse game to take down the Syndicate led by ex-MI6 agent Solomon Lane. The situation isn't helped by CIA Director Alan Hunley, who sets out to dismantle the IMF and deconstructs Hunt as being
Both arsonist and fireman at the same time.
for his wild stunts over the years. He has a point. He doesn't believe the Syndicate exists, so the IMF is shut down. Early on, we're treated to a slick, gadget-rich sequence at a Vienna opera house, where an on-the-run Hunt is trying to identify Lane. Benji is briefed via glasses with a heads-up display, scrambles security with a tiny device he attaches to a main power circuit, and then uses a twinned device to transform an opera brochure into a monitor that taps into security with a Kindle-style monochrome screen. Hunt later realizes that an assassin trying to take out the Austrian chancellor has the same kind of contact lenses connected to remote camera, hinting that the Syndicate has the IMF's tech. The Chancellor is later killed by a car bomb hidden in a briefcase, suggesting that the bad guys have a crazy system of redundancies. This movie only has a single instance of the mask being used, but it's extremely surprising and effective.
Sir, Hunt is the living manifestation of destiny, and he has made you his mission.
Prime Minister.
And finally, Mission Impossible Fallout is a rollercoaster ride of action that puts its characters first. The film follows Hunt and his team tracking down plutonium to prevent a nuclear disaster. The stunts that Tom Cruise pulled off in this film are fear-inducing, including skydiving from an extremely high altitude and being airlifted off the ground by a helicopter while holding onto a rope. Hunt uses a dermal stitcher to implant tracking devices under people's skin. The climax is unforgettable as we watch Hunt in an epic helicopter pursuit, while his team members try to disarm a nuclear bomb. It is safe to say that the franchise has found their greatest crew yet, and fans can't wait for the next Mission Impossible film. Will Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning keep up with all the success? If you liked our video, don't forget to subscribe and follow our channel for more videos like this one.